Mark 85 just arrived. Cabin spring trip 2019. We're loaded here, but this is basically just about what we have during deer season. And I'm going to talk about the change in the PA deer season coming up, maybe when we're sitting around inside having a drink and a pipe, maybe we're sitting around the campfire or something like that. And I'm going to talk about it, my feelings, for a few minutes. But one thing that I did here, it takes you about 15 minutes to get settled into your deer camp. I'll check the time, so let's see how long it takes us to unpack this baby. Hey Trevor, we're going to try the fire blocks. I just have 3 to test them out. Should get cool enough down to about mid 40s, high 40s at night. So we're going to go ahead and test this out. Thanks for the idea. Well, that is about it. We got the thing unloaded. Maybe 6, 7, 8 minutes to get the car unloaded. Now, what does unloaded mean? All it means is getting the stuff that's in here into the cabin, and nice and dry, no rain, no snow. There's part of that 15 minutes gone already, just getting the stuff out of the car. Now, all that stuff that has to be unpacked. Now, that's going to take another little while, so we'll come back to that. But for now, enjoy the spring trip. We don't have a lot planned. Some turkey hunting if the weather permits in the morning. The guys aren't going to get here. It's Thursday afternoon now, Thursday the 2nd. Guys aren't going to get here until Monday about noon. Sean and I are up early for a little turkey hunting, a little bit of solitary confinement or whatever. We're just going to enjoy ourselves, have some good food. A little bit something different tomorrow night for dinner you haven't seen before. Who's making a return? Medical Man. There was a request that Techno be dissolved, so Techno is going to fade into the sunset. The return of Medical Man, and hopefully I won't call him Medicine Man, because I do feel bad when I refer to him as Medicine Man. I'm not trying to disparage any Native Americans. And we also have one return. Camp Cook is back. Snacks? We'll see. We'll see how he does. He's supposed to be cooking some strip steaks on Monday, and I think maybe some pork tenderloin on Tuesday, which is, you never know. You want to dry that pork out now. We don't want to have dry pork again. Medical Man does have a new firearm that he's bringing up.
We still got to do the generator too. A couple more minutes on that.
Grab yourself your favorite beverage, your favorite snack, sit down for a bit, put your feet up, and I hope you enjoy this. Before we start unpacking everything in there, we're going to stop, have something to eat. When it takes you like 6 hours to get here, then maybe you want a meal once you get here. Well, Kevin from Upstate Deer Hunter and NCP Outdoors, the old Martins, we stopped in there, and that parking lot was packed. It was lunchtime, but it looks like that must be the spot, because we had to park all the way around back. Every spot was full in there. So, got to be a good place. So, it's about 2:30 now. Gonna have a little bit of a lunch, late lunch, and then probably finish off the other half of the sub at dinner time. So Martin's Pantry came through again. I know I got the chicken. I don't know what Sean decided to get, but we're gonna go toast them up on the grill and put a little avocado sauce on them and have a little lunch. So all in the time it takes to open your camp. Oh yeah, they're getting there. What'd you get?
Italian.
Italian, all right.
Cheese is melting a little bit.
Yeah. I got the turkey, or no, chicken. I got the chicken.
Nice.
And chicken and cheddar.
Ooh.
Italian this time, huh?
Yep. Toasty Italian.
Well, I guess somebody knew we were coming. We've been here about an hour and a half or so. Rain, of course. But it is supposed to scheduled to possibly rain every day while we're here. So we're gonna see, is it gonna be when it rains we eat trip again? Who knows? We'll check the weather, it always changes. We'll have a good time. We're gonna head into town right now, get some ice. Got to get that beer on ice. We'll show you the beer when we come back.
Little guy.
Yeah. Yeah, looks like a doe in a fawn. Well, here we are about 4:45. We went down, got some ice, picked up 40 pounds of ice, and you can see we got a pretty good stack of here. It's a spring trip. Usually do a little bit more partaking just because, you know, we're not getting up. We are getting up for turkey, but it's not an all-day thing. There is a little bit extra here because I brought some up for Steve and Eric and Mike. I decided to go for us all Delaware, and I did the Mespillion. Mespillion's named after the Mespillion River that flows out of Milford, Delaware, out to the Delaware Bay, which is about 5-8 miles from my house. Pretty close. They had another name they could have chose, another river down there was close, called the Murder Kill. Now, I don't know if maybe Murder Kill beer would go, so I think Mespillion, even though it's a little tougher to say, Murder Kill might not quite make it. For you Philly guys, Schuylkill, Murder Kill, it's the same thing, the K-I-L-L on the end of it, really. And I think in Dutch it means creek or river or something like that, and that's where it comes from. So we got some 4 different kinds. Little Pineapple Express, that's a milkshake IPA, brewed with pineapple, pretty good fruity flavor. We have the Nor'easter, that's another IPA, that's New England style rye IPA, pretty good. A little bit heftier, I think, in alcohol, 7. Not Today Satan, and that's a little bit stronger IPA, that's around the 7.5. And down at the bottom, Reach Around IPA.
To not even have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around. I'll be watching you.
And some other dogfish I brought up. My favorite, the Liquid Truth Serum, Medical Man, a little Sequence Ale. Camp Cook over there, I know he'd have to have at least one IPA. He said he wanted some different things. Got some spiked seltzer, that's for us. And for the cook and the chairman, we have a couple 4-packs of Leinenkugel Summer Shandy. That's his kind of choice. He's a Miller Lite Summer Shandy kind of a guy. We got some great stuff. We're going to get it on ice now, chill it down. Camp is officially open.
Time for a little project so I can feel good about myself today. So, usually we just wash our hands with a bottle of water or something out here. But we're going to get high tech now. Little shower bag, which is going to turn into a hand washing bag. Little, I guess, a garden hook type thing. Hang this up here. We can let that heat up in the sun. Actually, put it this way, clear side out. And we'll have a little hand washing station. Here, you want to hold it and then I'll zip it right in?
Yeah.
That would be easier. Teamwork. I guess we can always straighten the top after it's in. That look good?
Yep. It should stay on there. All right. All we got to do is fill our bag up with some of this water. Well, back at the cabin, about 8:30 or so, walked to the property, yelping and listening and yelping and listening, and we didn't hear one thing today. Maybe some hens way off in the distance. I thought maybe I heard a gobble, maybe, it's like one of those things, sometimes you don't know what you're hearing. It was way, way off in the distance, nothing anywhere close to us. Walking down at the end of the property there, we met up with Josh. Good to meet you, and good luck. You're out there turkey hunting. Nice to see you down there. And he didn't hear one thing either. He was set up on a field early this morning, 6 o'clock, and listening, nothing. So doesn't seem like they wanted to talk today. That's the way it goes. But now let's look over here. Little coffee time, and got some croissants with sausage, egg, and cheese. So Sean and I are gonna sit back. We'll enjoy those with coffee on the deck. Well, over here at the old shit house, and the chairman got a letter from North Central Sewage Company or authority, and said we have to make this fly proof. There's really not a lot of flies in here. Sometimes we get mosquitoes actually down into the abyss. What we have to do is just put some screening up here in the eaves, find something for a couple of these cracks around the door here. Nice easy job, but we're going to go ahead and see if we can get that done and make it look halfway decent. I really don't think it's necessary, but it's one of the things you got to do if the authority says you do it, and they'll fine you if you don't. So you can hear Sean finishing up the back. We got our eaves screened in, and the inside of the door, there were some cracks in here, and we got the screening inside here. So we should be legal as that goes. We just have to figure out something for this seal right on the top here, and I really don't think they're going to have any other issues. So, and in case you're wondering what's fuzzed out up at the top, Senior named this privy after one of the camp members, Bub or Joe, that was here, and we call it Joe's Privy, and because he seemed to be in there a lot. It's just something that we did, and it has his full name on there and his birthdays and death date and everything, so that's why it's fuzzed out. But Joe's Privy, and I think of him, it's kind of, like you think, oh well, it's an outhouse, but you think of something like that when it just helps you remember somebody. So we got this about knocked out. Sean's got a couple more nails to hammer in the background, and this is about finished up. Well, we did that outhouse project, the fly proofing, and we also sanded the shed door. It was sticking on us, so we had to sand that bottom of it. That was actually a little bit of a project, but I had brought I bought Wahlburgers hamburgers at home. I know we were a little bit tough on Mark during the trip last year for his 2 stinky movies, and that's not my fault.
Sorry, bud. But
we did buy I bought them and wanted to bring them up, and of course I forgot them, so I had to go to Weiss yesterday and grab some quarter pounders here. But if you haven't tried the Wahlburger, pretty good. It's a little pricey, again, catch it on sale kind of thing. But the Wahlburgers, if you haven't tried them, pretty good. And again, sometimes it seems like I'm trying to sell stuff, but really I'm not. I'm just saying what I like. So let's put these burgers on, put a little spice on them. And I think these are well deserved, after what we've been doing today.
I'll take it. I'll take 2.
Take 2.
The brioche bun.
And the brioche buns.
From France. Recipe from France.
Recipe, yeah. Egg and cheese, so basically, or not, egg and butter. So when you split them, they're yellow inside. So basically, you don't have to spray the butter down on them. They taste pretty good, and the brioche is pretty damn good.
They look good.
Emerald essence on there just to spice them up a tad.
Oh yeah.
About there. It's still a little on the rare side.
In there.
A little afternoon wrap up after lunch. Stopped down at one of the cabins here. Scott and Brenda, very nice couple that has a beautiful looking cabin. Checked out their solar system that they have. Looks like it works great. Something to to think about for sure, because it looks like it really does the job for them, and no need for the generator, especially during the day. We wouldn't have to run that at all, it seems like. Fairly inexpensive. I would think about under $300 would do it. So it's something to think about. Great couple, and they showed some deer that they've taken off the mountain, and they've got a super collection. Both of them hunt. Looks like they both do equally as well. So it's the battle of the sexes down there, I think, on who gets the deer. Got some bear in there, and a lot of deer antlers from PA, from up here, and some from West Virginia. Really nice to meet them, and Scott and Brenda, thanks for having us in and showing us around. I know Sean and I really appreciate that. Then we went into town from there. We got dumped on with the rain, but went into town and had to buy a new doorknob. One of the ones in the back broke. Put that in, had a little adjustments to make, but worked out over time. It's just sitting here now. It's nice deck temp. I just checked the radar. The rain is past us for now, so I think we can sit here for a little bit, enjoy a little White Claw, nice and light for the afternoon. And then we're going to get into a little Louisiana boil. Hate to say it for you people that live down Louisiana, Alabama, that do these boils, but we're going to do our sort of own. It's something different that we haven't done up here. Going to have mussels in it, some shrimp, and a little, I think it's kielbasa or sausage in there too, potatoes, corn. We'll be doing that after we sit here on the deck for a while, about 45 minutes or so before we get that started. Well, it's time to start our prep work for a little Louisiana boil, and got some red taters and corn here. Gonna quarter the taters up, probably cut those corn into thirds or so. I didn't even know that's what you were supposed to do. Got our taters, corn, we're gonna get those in there first, but we're really gonna just see how it is for the water. Put them in. All right. We're just gonna go ahead and put one beer in. So we're going to use this shrimp and crab boil, crawfish. Funny, when we were kids, we actually called them crayfish. What do us northerners know? Going to dump about half of that in or so. Smells pretty good.
It does.
Seems like it should be enough water.
Yeah, it looks good.
I got the beef Polish kielbasa, and I didn't get the red hots because I'm not a real hot person. I don't like super hot food, so I figured this is going to pick up a little bit of the flavor from the boil. So we'll just go with this. It'll be good. Let's get this in the pot. Give that a minute. Go get the mussels and the shrimp. Extra large shrimp. This is peeled Devane tail on. Let's dump this in. Slow down our boil a little bit. They still feel pretty cold. Get my spoon. Probably take about 5 minutes or so for these to cook. I think I see them turning pink already. Oh yeah, they're cooking fast. This is about half pound of muscle meat going in there. Oh yeah, those shrimp are cooking nice. All right, he's about done. His shrimp are done, the mussels are good. So we're gonna turn this off. We'll bring it in and just let it sit for about 20 and let that flavor get imparted into the shrimp and the mussels and the kielbasa. All right, it's been sitting for about 20 minutes or so. And they say the more it sits, the hotter it'll get as far as spice wise. But that's probably good enough for me. Just a little plate out, see what we got. Alright. So here's our seafood boil. We're gonna kick back, enjoy this. Maybe we'll see if we're a pipe on the deck for dessert.
Looks good.
Sure does. We just finished up that great dinner. Really turned out, I'll tell you well. Sean certainly enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Turned out better than I think both of us thought. Really smells great in the cabin. So you Louisianans are a little bit jealous for your crawfish boils down there, but we kind of made our own up here, Pennsylvania style, I guess. And it worked out great. Now time for a pipe on the deck. I got to thank Phil from Ohio. He sent Sean and I nice sampler packs, actually 4 different tobaccos, aromatics from the Tobacco Barn. And Phil, I know Sean and I really appreciate that. We are gonna pick one of these guys. Actually, we already have them. Going for the Cavendish. And you said what you were doing, Treasure Chest or?
My pleasure.
My pleasure. Yep, he's going for the My Pleasure. We're gonna sit out here. We got about 45 minutes of light left, so we're gonna sit out, nice pipe, and then probably hit a little wild turkey.
All right, we'll do a 3 count. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4.
4 1,000.
1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4. Perfect. See how that goes. It is 101.
Maybe watch what was that? Cary Grant, Destination Tokyo from 1943 or 4. So
44, I think.
An oldie, filmed actually still during the war. Probably a little bit of propaganda in there, as that's the way it goes. But hopefully it'll be interesting for us. But nice evening.
Yeah, it's raining.
It's raining?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
How do you like that?
Maybe we'll be inside.
Man, maybe we'll be inside. We'll get these pipes going and enjoy the evening. Nice and quiet. Haven't heard any turkeys all afternoon again, which is usually a little strange for us. They're normally, we hear them down in here, and I don't know if they have some strut zones that they're going back and forth in, but kind of strange that we haven't heard them. Pipe time, wild turkey movie, be a good evening. About 7 o'clock Saturday morning. See in the background, foggy as anything today. Wasn't really raining this morning. A lot of stuff coming off the trees at 5:30, 6 o'clock. I know we would have got pretty wet. All the equipment would have got damp and everything. So we stayed in bed this morning. Did some calls. I didn't hear any response. I've been up for a little while. I've been listening. You can hear pretty good in the cabin. If someone was around, I probably could have heard it. But for now, I guess it's going to be coffee time. Make some kind of breakfast sandwich. Roll into Saturday and see what happens. For lunch, gonna put a little some salt blocks out. This is that thing I picked up at Ollie's last year. It seemed to work pretty good. It lasted a long time. And gonna go ahead and fill this. I have a bucket of Lucky Buck over here that I think I'm gonna put onto a log instead of just putting onto the dirt here in the cabin, so maybe we can see some deer coming over and hitting that Lucky Buck, and it'll absorb into the stump, the log that's down there, and then they may chew onto that. I know I got a suggestion to mix Lucky Buck and I think Imperial Mineral together, and then finish it with the Trophy Rock on the top. We are going to do the Lucky Buck and the Trophy Rock over at Sean's stand, or somewhere over that way. I got actually 3 different flavors here: molasses, apple, and sugar beet crush. And these are just the what are these, 4 and 4 pound blocks. Hey, for you guys that can't get out there, these last a pretty long time. Tractor Supply, Walmart end of season, pretty good deals on this kind of stuff. So you may want to think about putting some of these out. I know this device, whatever you want to call it, this holder. I think there was a label on it when I first got it, but and I looked them up on the internet, and I don't need to think either the company's not in business anymore, or they're not making these things anymore. Go with the Apple next. I think the Apple's got a crack in them. Maybe I'll put him at the top. They are so much nicer than just the single cages that you can get at Tractor Supply that I think sometimes is for like horses or goats or something like that next to your corral. I'm surprised these aren't a little bit more on the popular side. And there he is, all filled up. Quite a big hole over here. I know they're in there chewing at it, so let's find a spot to put a Lucky Buck on a stump somewhere where we can see it from the cabin. If you haven't watched the Lucky Buck video, I did visit the plant, and when it was my request to go there, they didn't contact me. I really was interested in the product itself, and I requested to visit it, and they said, sure, come on out. So if you haven't checked that video out, it's up in the corner over here, and you can certainly do that. But certainly believe in Lucky Buck. I've talked about it over and over and over, that I really think that it does some good. If you do watch the video, you can see the difference from year to year from some of these bucks that were actually using Lucky Buck, and it's quite impressive. Dave and the gang out there, Lucky Buck, I really think he got a great product here. We're just going to take it. Gonna put it all along here. Some will dump off. I don't care about that. Hey man, does that smell good? It'll be very interesting if Sean and I start seeing some deer down in here relatively shortly, because you cannot miss this flavor. It is just so pungent, and it just hangs in the air. I got it all over my tongue right now already. Remember, you got a guarantee on this. I've talked about that before. You got nothing to lose for trying it. So we'll just put a couple things out here. We'll see what happens, and I think it's time to fry a dog or two up. Well, I'm standing amongst a few pine trees right here. When we cleared these fields, that was 10 years ago that Senior and I were up here and helped the guy when he came in with the bulldozer and cleared everything out up here. I kind of named this section of the field that we wanted to do clover in and everything Seven Pines Field. Seven Pines was a battle in Civil War, for you Civil War aficionados that may know about that battle. I just kind of liked that, and that kind of stuck in my head for some reason. And I called it Seven Pines Field. A few months later, something like that, Senior came up and he planted 7 pine trees right here. And as I see these pine trees grow each year, and I think there's maybe 5.5 left over, because of the harsh winter and it's tough on these pines. But it kind of reminds me of the guy he was, and what friend that he was to me to plant these. And then again, as I see these grow, it's really just a nice memory for me to see them going.
Hot dog time. Oh, that looks good. Toasty bun. A little cheese.
Brioche top loaders.
They almost look like they have a little butter on them.
Well, they do. Butter and egg, right?
There you go. Let's put the cheese down first. Do this properly. Onion.
Yeah, a little onion.
Oops.
Yeah.
Onion everywhere. Go crazy. That smells good, looks good, probably eats good.
Time for lunch. Yeah, just getting some targets set up to do a little shooting off the deck.
How's that angle look?
Looks good. It'll all go into the dirt. You hit that, it's all going to go into the dirt.
All right.
Lower, high on that way. last one.
I think it might have been to the right.
I think it was like the very bottom at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
It's like the last inch of the target
Really?
at 5 o'clock.
Same spot?
Just about.
Oh.
Oh, that one, I tell you the truth, I couldn't tell.
No.
Yeah, but you hit it. I don't know if it's the reflection or not, but it always seems like it's the same spot.
Same spot. No matter where I aim. Heat seeking.
Could be asking too much either for myself or the.
High?
High. High again.
Again, alright, let's put it a little lower.
That's high.
Rush that one. Is that 6?
One more, I think, right?
Maybe.
Or is that it?
That should be it.
You gotta cheat and use a rest like I do.
Yeah, that's fun. Right.
Clink! Oh, wait a
Oh,
second.
yeah, I heard it.
You hit it?
No.
No? Okay.
Can't tell where, but hit it somewhere.
And it's time for dinner. Start with some French cut green beans, little salt and pepper on them. How about some butter? A little bit more butter. Definitely. Get them wrapped up in the aluminum foil. Get them on the grill. Here's Sean starting to cut the onions up for our other side dish as I get the porterhouses on. One has emerald essence and the other has slap your mama white pepper. You can hear that sizzle as they go on the grill. So nice. And on the side burner over here, let's melt some butter down. Throw those onions in there. Start to brown those up. Next, let's load that pan up all the way with some baby portobello mushrooms. Come on, load it up. There we go. And some cracked fresh pepper. And here's the pecan smoked sea salt we've been using. Get those stirred up a little bit. Time to flip the steaks over. Looking just about right. Can't look too much better than that. Nice grill marks on there. More sizzle. Mushrooms are just about there, 3/4 of the way. Let's get these steaks off. Let them rest for a little bit. Always good to do. Let your steaks rest at least a few minutes before you eat them. Get them covered up with some aluminum foil. And here's our mushroom. Last little bit of a stir. Then it's time to start plating things up. Here goes the mushroom and onions. Next we'll have our French cut green beans and butter sauce. And one last thing to do is get those porterhouses on our plates. We'll add the side dishes, and then it's time to eat. One last thing, couple pictures. Started up a little bit of a fire. We'll be closing the door and turning that down in a few minutes. But about 7:15 Saturday evening, had that great porterhouse dinner. And we had a nice visit from our camp next door. They just bought the camp last year. And Matt and Sarah and family came over. Sean and I appreciate the visit, and we enjoyed talking to you and look forward to seeing you again sometime. Well, just wanted to take a couple minutes to talk about the Saturday hunting. I kind of teased it earlier in the video, but a lot of people wanted to know my opinion on Saturday hunting for PA. I'm not going to make this too long. I'm not going to go into a lot of facts and figures and everything like that. Just want to give you my quick opinion on it. A lot of people that I've talked to or seen are kind of negative on it, that have texted me, or not texted me, but sent me messages, are a little bit negative. I'm kind of doing I want to wait and see what happens. You know, it only takes you 15 minutes to open your camp, and the deer season used to be all over the place in the early 60s. I think it hasn't changed since maybe 63 or 64. It was set on the first Monday after Thanksgiving. But he kind of said, oh, before that, it was this day and it was that day. Everybody that hunted back then most likely is just about retired from hunting or unfortunately passed away by this time. So the crop of people that are hunting now are just used to that tradition of it starting the Monday after Thanksgiving. And what I like about that is if you do come on Friday and you're with your buddies on Saturday, you're with your buddies on Sunday, you get to watch a lot of football, and that interaction with the guys and having lunch and making sandwiches, that's what builds friendship and tradition. Getting up Friday night, quickly getting something to eat, getting into bed, and then hunting on Saturday, and then coming in and grabbing a quick dinner on Saturday night, isn't going to build a tradition. But I have to really, give a little bit to the kids that they're trying to get introduced into hunting. Maybe they can't, 13, 14-year-olds, that they can take off from school, but their parents can't take off from work. and they want to go out and they can't. Trying to get those kids involved. I also heard some things about trying to get some college kids involved. I don't think I know a college kid that wouldn't skip a day of school, or at least a morning of school, or an afternoon of school. So I don't think college kids have a lot to do with it. I think it's more that 12 to 18-year-olds that are still in high school that their parents really can't attend. Because let's face it, after 18, you can go on your own. You don't need a parent or guardian to go with you. So I don't think a 20-year-old that goes going to college really has to say, "Oh, I really need Saturday because I don't want to skip school on Monday." I'm not kind of buying that. But like I said, we'll see what happens. You have any thoughts on it?
I get the extra day angle. I think Sunday would make a lot more sense.
And I agree, and I think a lot of the folks that we've talked to said, hey, let's make it Sunday instead. And now, PA is one of those states, they have the old blue laws. When I grew up, you couldn't do anything on Sunday. Basically, a lot of stores weren't open, no banks, you couldn't get money. A lot of gas stations weren't even open on Sunday. So Pennsylvania's still getting through that blue law a little bit, but if they did maybe say, okay, let's drop the Saturday, switch to Sunday, I think a lot more people will be happy about it, especially us out-of-staters that have to drive 6 hours to get here. We get here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I get up 5:30 to get here. I mean, it's early, 5 or 5, I forget, but 5 o'clock. Pick him up about 6, and we get here about 12:30, 1 o'clock. It doesn't give us much time. Maybe a storm came through the night before or a few days before, and we have to fix a stand. That doesn't give you much time.
Yeah.
So if we did have Saturday, that would certainly help. Here we are, Sunday evening. Very lazy day today. Went in town and met another YouTuber, but I will discuss that tomorrow a little bit and have a big shout out for him. But kind of quiet. Didn't do too much in town. Hit the Dollar General, picked up a few things, picked up another John Wayne movie for tonight to stick on the John Wayne theme. Sean and I like it. Cahill, U.S. Marshal, and that will certainly end when the guys arrive tomorrow because they'd rather watch something more current than that, which is fine. Certainly want to go with what the majority of the guys want to watch. Hit the Antler Inn tonight. Was going to go down to the Permastone Inn, but it was a little bit closer. Kind of raining, miserable night, so we didn't end up going that far down Route 6 and stopped in there. Today, the 5th, Cinco de Mayo. I kind of asked the waitress, hostess there, about taco specials and kind of just shook her head and said, no, that's nothing. We're not doing anything for Cinco de Mayo. And as far as I'm concerned, it's George's birthday today. And nothing to do with Cinco de Mayo. George's birthday. Happy birthday, Georgie boy. Had that hamburger down at the Antler Inn. Very good. Some French fries. A nice Williamsport beer. I think it was Crooked Trail beer. And it was very good. Very enjoyable. So we're going to sit back and enjoy some Kilbeggan's Irish whiskey and Hunter's Nut mix that was sent down to us from Tim up there in Massachusetts. Tim, Sean and I certainly are going to enjoy having a glass of nice smooth Irish whiskey and a little bit of Hunter's Nuts mix to go with it. We appreciate that. Thank you very much, Tim. It's great for you to send it down here to the camp. I know we're all going to enjoy the nuts. We've already sampled them, and very, very good. It's supposed to be clearing by about 5-ish, so we shall see what will happen turkey time tomorrow. Maybe very wet in the woods for kind of like walking around in the woods, so may do just walk around on the trails a little bit to see if we can hear anything gobbling. It's been very, very quiet as far as that goes this year. Whew. Well, that's kind of how it's gone this morning. A lot of rain yesterday, as I mentioned, and rain all through the evening and into the night. I still heard it raining about 4 o'clock in the morning. But clearing now, it's going to be a beautiful day. And I thought maybe after all this rain, and I know the animals know when the weather's going to change and the weather's going to get better also. So I had a feeling that, maybe they might be up and active this morning, but we're hearing nothing again. A lot of owls going off this morning, natural owls, and nothing was answering them. Been calling, haven't heard a thing. Haven't really even heard a hen call either, so I can't say, oh, they're henned up. That call shy thing, I don't believe in that. I believe they're either talking or they're not talking, unless you sound worse than I do. So I just have a feeling that maybe they're off somewhere else this time. So, well, we'll probably put away the turkey guns for now and wait for the gang to get here about noon. I think it's about 8:30 now or so. And got some chores to do. Eric wants to put a feeder up, so of course if he's going to put a feeder up on the property, I wouldn't hunt turkeys here anymore. I think the chairman may be fishing this afternoon. Camp Cook version 2.0 will be here with some good food, so looking forward to that. Looks like Cook. There he is. Go greet him. Meet and greet.
9.5.
There's version 2.0, slim and trim.
What's up?
Beard going?
Yeah, I love the beard too.